everyone. My name is Kamie. I am a career coach at Montgomery County Public Schools, and our goal is to help all MCPS students develop lifelong career learning skills. We have a very special guest with us today, Melanie Teope. She is a multi-talented performer who is in New York City and is also an MCPS graduate. Thank you so much for being with us, Melanie. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background as a performer?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm Melanie. I'm a Filipino-American performer from Montgomery County, Maryland, and I've been performing for a few years now. I've been singing practically my whole life, but I got into acting a couple years ago when I entered college, and I started with a musical called the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with musical theater, and I've been performing ever since.
Do you know what motivated you to pursue that career path as a performer?
What motivated me? I just love the thrill of being in the spotlight and performing and having fun up there and expressing yourself. That's honestly what keeps me going.
That's so cool. And what is particularly fulfilling about this line of work, in your opinion?
Honestly, I love everything about it. I love the performing aspect. Something that's very fulfilling is I like to say I'm a very social person. So the collaboration aspect of it and being in an environment with so many dedicated and passionate artists is very fulfilling for my soul. I feel like I get to feed my soul every time I step on stage or I'm in rehearsal with people who love it just as much as I do.
Yes. Can you share some of your professional goals that you're currently working towards right now?
Yes, obviously Broadway. I got to mention that one, but I would love to also do film, TV. New York is great for both stage and camera, so that as well as something to do with singing. I would love to perform on stage, do some pop music, possibly, and dance. I love dance as well. So any way that I can incorporate all three, I would love to do that.
Is there a dream role that you have?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I've thought about this quite a bit, and I'm currently obsessed with Hadestown. I would love to play Eurydice in Hadestown. I love her track.
That's so awesome. In looking back at your work, is there a role that you are proud of that you've handled so far?
Probably the role I'm most proud of was my last one in Maryland before I moved to New York. It was Vanessa from In the Heights, and that's the first lead role that I had ever gotten. And that's one where I had to push myself a lot more than I did in other roles, vocally and physically and acting wise. And also, I'm very proud of that because I got to work with other actors of color. I've never been a part of a production where as all of the actors were like me in a way. And so that was really fun. And I'm always very proud to mention that whenever I'm with some acting friends in New York, I always have to mention In the Heights.
That's awesome. It's so great to work on a Lin-Manuel production. And you talk a little bit about what's it like to move to New York. Can you imagine an MCPS student with a dream of pursuing Broadway? What can you tell them?
New York is crazy. So I moved to Midtown Manhattan, which is where everything is happening all at once. I'm like 10 minutes away from Broadway. I'm 10 minutes away from this, from that. I'm right in the heart of everything. And it's very different. There's no city in Maryland, I think, comparable to where I'm at right now. So it definitely was chaotic. And I'm definitely still learning how to navigate the city, but it's so fulfilling in the best way possible. I'm always surrounded by art and I'm always surrounded by people on the go. So I feel like I'm right where I need to be.
That's great. You had mentioned about being surrounded by people. One of the things in any profession, but in particular in the performing arts, is networking. How do you approach networking and building relationships with people?
Networking, that's a very good question. I think the word networking makes it seem very formal and almost scary, like you need to network in order to get ahead in a business. I approach it as making friends with your class and people your age, people not your age, all kinds of ages actually in acting. Just making friends with your class and rising up with them, and you guys will be the next generation of big performing artists. That's how I view it. So, like, genuine connection and creating with them as much as you can, making short films. Everyone's got so many different talents. One friend might be a writer or a composer or whatever. So, honestly, collaboration and also social media, you can DM people and you can ask to collaborate. And that's one of the fun things about it is that online gives you the platform to do that when you're not in person.
That's such awesome advice. You had mentioned classes. Was there any specific education or training that helped prepare you for a career in the performing arts?
Yes, I will say my training here in Maryland helped me immensely before I moved to New York, just because I started a lot later than my peers. I remember all of my peers had started maybe like in high school or when they were like 3 years old and their parents had put them into their first tap class. I started in college, which I am honestly very grateful for because all of the training I got was put into this one curriculum that I could just follow. And so it was very useful. And then when I moved to New York, I did this thing called actor therapy,
Hmm.
which was also so cool because I had learned not only about the craft, but about how to audition, how to make a music book that represents you, feels like an extension of yourself, and then also just how to navigate the industry as a performer, which was very cool because as much as your craft is important, you also have to know about how to navigate the industry and to stand your ground because it is a very big, crowded industry. But there's a place for you. I do believe there's a place for everyone who wants to pursue this. And then I'm currently training at the Esper Studio. I'm learning Meisner, which I think is also very useful if you want to be an actor, not only for stage, but for camera. It's very useful.
So you had mentioned a little bit about your training right there. And can you talk a little bit about auditioning? Because you said your training is helping you a little bit prepare for auditions. And can you help students understand what it's like to audition for things?
Yes, for sure. Auditioning is something I need to do more of, and it's just one of those things that you get better with as you keep going. There's things like open calls, which are pretty lengthy and take up a good chunk of your day. But then there's also self tapes. It's just something that you get better with practice. And it's always great to go with a friend. Honestly, all my friends go together to auditions. And I think it can be very easy to look at them as a competition, but I like to go in with the idea that what's meant for you will end up coming to you.
That's a great attitude to have. You had mentioned a little bit about having your friends come with you and have that support system. Can you talk a little bit about students? They might feel setbacks if they don't get a role. How would you cope or give advice to students if you don't land a role?
For sure. It can definitely be heartbreaking, especially if you really resonated with that character and you really wanted to get that role. But I think with every audition you don't get, you're one audition closer to getting the one that's meant for you. So I think having that optimistic mindset towards auditioning and just being kind to yourself because it is a really densely populated industry, just keep going. Something will happen for you, especially if you keep working on yourself.
That's wonderful advice. Switching gears just a little bit, Melanie, what is something that is not on your resume but is important for people to know about you?
Something that's not on my resume. Ooh, that's a very good question. I think you can tell from this interview, but I'm pretty optimistic, a little bit almost delusionally so, to the point where I had only been training for a couple years before I decided to go, okay, let's move to New York. Let's see what happens. But I think that my mindset has been very helpful, especially when things get challenging in such a big city. So I would say that's something that's cool to know about me.
That is so cool to share. I think that optimism can fuel people. There is this myth of a starving artist in New York City. Can you kind of walk us through what a starving artist is, and have you seen it or experienced it, or some tips to avoid being a starving artist in New York City? Like, how are people going to pay for their rent?
That is a completely valid conversation to be had. And yes, I have met many a starving artist. There's a thing called a starving job. Basically, that's like anything that will help you put food on the table, but also help you achieve your goals. You need rent, money, you need to be able to eat, and you need all these things to be able to pursue your goals. So we have that, the starving job. And then we have the hustle, your hustle. So your side job. A lot of actors I know will do things like vocal coaching on the side, or they'll play piano for gigs, they'll accompany people. It's usually something related in that realm. But I also know actors, and it's insane. Actors are very smart like this. I know many actors who do like software engineering or something, and that definitely helps pay the bills and definitely helps them pay for acting classes because that can be very expensive. So just finding time for you, but also don't skip meals. Take care of your body because your body's your instrument and you need a healthy body to be, or as healthy as you can be to be pursuing this.
What's one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever been given? It could be career related or something else.
This is something that I got when I first started my first ever musical. And the director had said, if this is something you want to pursue, this can't be your side hobby or like a side hustle kind of thing. You have to put your 100% into it. And that really resonated with me because at the time when I was just getting into it, acting was something I had always wanted to do. But I also was pursuing something else in STEM. But that really resonated with me because I'm like, this is an art and it takes time and you have to respect it. And so I remember going to my mom and telling her, I think I want to do this and I want to give it my 100%. And so we had negotiated this little thing where I could try it out for 2 years and we'll see how it goes. I ended up falling in love with performing, but also the rehearsal process and the craft and getting better at it and receiving feedback and working on it. It got very addicting. Musical theater is like that, where it ropes you in and you can't escape it, but in the best way possible. So that was the best advice I had ever gotten. You have to give it your 100%, which is something I keep in the back of my head, especially when I moved to New York. I was like, let's see how far I can go with this. So I moved and I've been working hard every day.
That is awesome. I do have one more question.
Go
Since
ahead.
you are so optimistic,
Yes.
where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Again, with the delusional part of my brain, I see myself doing gigs, performing on stage. If things go perfectly, ideally in 5 years, I will have been on TV and been doing some films and also performing my own music. If things don't go that way, I think because I've been working so hard on everything, the best that could happen within that spectrum is that I am still performing at gigs, but maybe on a smaller scale.
Cool. So it sounds like you're sticking with it. I am grateful for your time, Melanie. I do believe in you and all the talent you have, and I wish you a lot of luck and a lot of success along the way. Thank you for helping students understand what it's like to pursue a career as a performer.
I really enjoyed my time here.
Thank you.